Okay. It's not gonna be funny if I have to like. Well, they'll get the gist.
Okay, so Joseph was recounting a story to John that was my story in Mr. Gould's class, who was an English teacher.
Well, let's just call him Dan so that I don't have to like bop out his name because that's really annoying.
Okay.
That's what we did when me and Brad played Metal Gear. Is we just called or Brown.
That's
Because like I don't want to use people's names.
yeah.
It's like Dan. We're in Dan's class.
Okay, so we were in or Joseph and John were in Dan's class, and so they were Joseph was telling John the story of how during PE or sports ed or whatever the frick it was called.
Yes, sports ed. We had written tests occasionally for some reason in PE.
Yeah, and so for the softball written test, one of the questions was, what's it called when an outfielder like fumbles the ball or like messes up a
That's what the
field?
question was.
Yeah. And so I didn't actually know the answer. So I wrote on the test a fuck up. And just bleep that out, but like put the F asterisk CK on the screen. But I put that on the test. And so I got a referral, and I had no idea what the referral was for because I forgot that I wrote that on the test. So that they like called me down to SAO and like what's his face? Mr. Bleep that out.
Mr. Gary.
Mr. Gary. He was like, you got a referral, and she was like really upset about it. That the thing that you did. Do you remember what you did? Because she didn't actually say, like on the referral or the write up or whatever. And I didn't remember that I wrote that. So I was like, I have no idea, man. Like maybe I was being snarky to her like this morning, and she was like got really mad about that, and he was like, all right, just go back to class because I don't really care. And then
he let people get away with things. He was an interesting guy.
Yeah, so I like asked her later. I was like, what why did I get a referral from you? Like, I have no idea what I did. And she was like, you know what you did. And I was like, I really don't. So that was pretty much the whole story. But while Joseph was recounting that, and he said a fuck up, like the thing that I wrote, Mr.
Dan
was like,
Dan.
I meant Dan. I don't remember that part. You tell it.
Okay, so like, I'm telling John, right, and I say the word, and Dan is passing by, and he kind of gives me a little side eye, and so I'm like telling it more quietly, because I'm like, is he gonna tell me to go to SAO or something? Because like, he was a guy with a sense of humor, he was a great guy, but he also liked order in his classes, and some rule following, and I kind of look at him, and he's like, why don't I tell you about swearing? And I'm like, I don't know, and he's like, if you, and he like mumbled this part too. Like, I always actually say it, but he like mumbled it. He's like, if you ever swear in your writing, you got to do it. From got it. And I'm like, did my teacher just say the F word?
The F word.
That one. And so I look at John, and John looks at me, and we're like, whoa. And we're like, who else heard that? No one else heard it.
Nobody will ever believe you.
Except Jonold and you.
Oh, crap.
That was a fun class.
I forgot what I was going to talk about. Oh, yeah, what was it? When... I forgot who... Me and Brad had English together, I think it was. And,
Me, you, Brad, and Michael all had English sophomore year.
Yeah, and Zilka.
Yes.
With Z.
Z.
But what was it? Oh no, it was with Kokenberger. So
that's a good name.
Yeah. So Kokenberger had to like take a break because her parents were losing control of their mental faculties. So she had to like take a couple weeks off of school, and we were having Mr. Dan.
Oh, that's right. That's yeah, he did that.
We had Dan as a sub, and
that guy was teaching way too many classes that year.
Yeah, and Brad kept on like falling asleep, and so like whenever Brad fell asleep, Dan would just like walk up to the front of the classroom and be like, "Hey, what did I tell you about sleeping?" And then Brad would just wake up and be like,
Quote Brad.
Yeah, that's exactly word for word what he would say.
Word for word.
Sound for sound.
Sound for sound. Onomatopoeia for onomatopoeia.
Exactly.
Did Dan do it like kind of partially as a goof or like fully serious?
I think he was. It was kind of goofy, but he was still serious about him not wanting him to sleep.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Still
shadow. It's like somebody flew a piece of paper over the.
Oh, now it moves. Okay. Was that Rambert?
It was Rodney.
Was that Rugby?
It was Richard.
Not Richard.
Oh no, not me.
I know I had another story, but I can't remember it.
What was it about? In general.
Oh, okay. Another story from Dan's class. Get up close to that mic.
That's okay.
So, what were we doing? There was like in the like beginning of it was either in the beginning of the year or the end of the year. We just had a day where we like played games or something as like an icebreaker or something. It might have been at the end of the year because there was nothing left to do. And so there was a balloon in the room for some reason. And me, being the logical person I am, I'm like, I'm going to pop it with this pencil in my hand.
Okay.
And so say like his desk is like in front of me, right?
Yeah.
And John is between me and the desk.
Yeah.
And the balloon is behind John.
Yeah.
So I've got the pencil in my hand like a knife murderer pose.
Like psycho position.
Yes, and I'm like going for the balloon, and like I hit it with the pencil, and I'm like getting closer to John. So he's like backing up, and he's got his backpack on.
Yeah.
So he like turns a little bit, and like swipes a mug off of Dan's.
Okay.
He like swipes. The mug just like bops off of Dan's desk.
Yeah.
It hits the ground and shatters, and John is me like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm oof, and oof, and Dan is like, that was my grandfather's from World War II. How could you do this? And John is like, I'm so sorry, and he just busts out into a smile. He's like, nah, I'm kidding. I stole that from the teacher's lounge. I don't care. and we stuck around for a second afterwards, and we're like, hey. Were you kidding about the World War II thing? He's like, yeah, I don't care.
He's like, even if it was from World War II, I wouldn't care.
and we're both like profusely apologizing, and he's like, I don't really care. We're like, what the heck? Then we get out into the hallway, and I'm apologizing to John, and John's like, I guess I don't care.
I guess I don't care.
That was a fun time.
Man, this watch, my dad gave it to me, and he had a POW camp, and he had to keep it up his butt for 30 years.
Just kidding, it's a painted fidget spinner on a rubber band.